Present.
It is early on a Monday morning, and it's already turning out to be a hectic day. A lone secretary is at wit's end. She has already, by 5 a.m., received 6 teachers who have called in sick. As she is finishing up calling through the sub list, she is finally realizing that there are no subs available to cover these teachers, and she has no idea what she's going to do to cover the teachers for these classrooms. You may be wondering if there is any truth in the scenario that I just have given you, and I can tell you that it is true. Before I went back to school, that was my job, and on a daily basis I dealt with finding subs, and it was no easy chore. It just illustrates the great need that there are for qualified substitute teachers. Most people don't understand why so many substitute teachers are needed. So let's take a look at some of the basic statistics. In 2013, the National Center for Education Statistics stated that there are 3.5 million teachers and public and private employed in the United States today. And according to a study done by the Center for American Progress and the National Council on Teacher Quality and Study, that on any given school day, there is 5.3% of the teachers absent. If you combine that with the statistic about 3.5 million teachers, you come up with on an average of 185,500 teachers who are gone every day. Also from that same study by the Center for American Progress, on average a teacher in a school year misses 10 days. If you combine that with the fact of 3.5 million teachers, you come up with that there are 35 million school days combined missed by these teachers. That means that all total that we have our children with someone who may or may not be qualified covering those classrooms. The numbers are staggering. There is definitely not enough qualified substitute teachers to cover these absences. According to the Department of Labor Statistics in May 2014, there were 622,600 substitute teachers employed in the United States. And remember, the statistic does not say that they are qualified teachers. Now let's look at what constitutes a qualified substitute teacher in the United States. For starters, there are no universal guidelines for how much education a substitute teacher needs to have to gain employment. Wyoming and Iowa are the only states that require that a substitute teacher have a BA in education for long-term subbing. Now in those two states, if you have a BA in anything else, or even an AA with a 15-hour credit course, you can short-term sub, which constitutes 5 days in one assignment. Shortages have caused many school districts and states to lower what minimum standards they already had for education for teachers, for substitute teachers. Most states, all you have to have is a GED or a high school diploma. Could you imagine that you have someone substituting in one of your high school children's class and they themselves are a recent graduate from high school? I don't believe this is a situation any parent wants. It seems to me that this situation would be like playing with fire. You know eventually somebody is going to get burned. The biggest reason for why substitute teachers need to be qualified is that it is our duty to guarantee our children get a quality education, not only for their benefit, but for our country's benefit for the future. Most people do not realize that by the time their child finishes high school, they will have spent, on average, at least a year with a substitute teacher, and in most cases, that substitute teacher is not qualified to be teaching them. Another study conducted by the Center for American Progress states that there are studies that have been shown that have said that children who spend this much time with a substitute teacher, their achievement levels in education are lowered. Now that we have looked at why it's necessary, let's explore what can be done to gain more qualified substitute teachers. One solution would be offering higher pay. In most school districts, the pay is very minimal. The low end is anywhere from $50 and the high end is $250. And that only happens in really big schools, and I guarantee we don't have that many around here, so nobody's getting $250 an hour. Some schools have actually hired substitute teachers and put them on contract. That way they are guaranteed a job every day, and then when they are not needed as substitutes, they are put in other positions in the district. And that could mean anywhere from not being a substitute teacher to substituting for a cook in the cook line, or an aide even. Some of the schools are raising the required education standards for substitute teachers or offer substitutes more training. In some cases, school districts would retain more of their good substitutes if they only treated them better. This is one of the biggest complaints from substitutes, is that. The biggest roadblock to these solutions is money. With school systems already cutting their budgets, there is no money to offer higher wages. And who wants to go out and get a 4-year degree in education and only earn $50 a day? So in conclusion, subs play a big role in our children's education. With the new standards in education and the pressing need we have for qualified substitute teachers, we owe our children the best substitutes we can find. Nothing should be more important than our children's futures, not even the cost that is involved. This needed change will not happen if everybody is not on board and this is not made a priority for our children's education.